Welcome to this last part of this short course about as-salah. Alhamdulillah, we finished sujood sahu. Before it, we finished conditions of salah, pillars of salah, obligations of salah, and we mentioned some of sunan. All of this, we are following the book Al-Durus Al-Muhimma, which is very concise treatise of Imam Ibn Baz rahimahullah ta'ala. We said using this text as a ground where we follow most of it. If there is a commentary, something to add or something added by the scholars, we will mention it. Rather, it is good. If someone follow another, like follow a specific madhab, this will be something to compare, to add more information. So, inshallah, it's all good, inshallah. To complete al-fa'idah, in the last week, we saw straightforward how to perform wudu, how to pray. Then we went into details of salah. Just to complete the image, as we did as-salah, we learned at the beginning how to perform it. Then we went what's condition, what's pillar, what's this, what's that. Last week we learned how to perform wudu. Now we go through it into details. What is condition? What is obligatory? And so on and so forth. He said, الدرس الثاني عشر, the 12th lesson from الدروس المهمة. الدروس المهمة is treatise where he put lesson 1 Al-Quran, lesson 2 this Islam, lesson 3 Iman, for example. In lessons. This is why it's called الدروس, the lessons. شروط الوضوء. شروط, as we explained last week, the conditions. The conditions are something that is outside of the thing, like preparation, like the conditions of salah we had last week. شروط الوضوء. شروط الوضوء وهي 10. الأول الإسلام والعقل والتمييز. Exactly as we said for the conditions of salah. Islam, عقل, تمييز. Islam, if someone is not Muslim, they perform wudu, it will not count. Because any action, you have to be Muslim. Al-aql, it means intellect. If someone is in state of insanity, they don't have to pray nor to perform wudu. Because the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith meaning, the pen is raised upon the 3 people. Then he mentioned one of them, al-majnoon hatta ya'qil. Majnoon, the one who is like has insanity, like extreme mental issues, they don't have to pray because they don't know what they are doing. So if you are Muslim and you are healthy, it means insanity, you have intellect. Tamiz, we said the age where kids can distinguish between good and bad. So that it may be 4, 5, 6, all depends on children. Their wudu and their ibadah will count, even if they don't have to. As we explained, all of these 3 conditions, we explained them last week. Concerning salah, they are the same. قال والنية. النية intention. قال واستصحاب حكمها بأن لا ينوي قطعها حتى تتم طهارته. حتى تتم طهارته. He said intention and continuing or continuity of intention. النية is to intend. And we said it's not something that we said by the tongue. You don't say, I intend, نويت أن أتوضأ. You don't say it. In your heart, you intend. So niyyah distinguish worship from habit and distinguish obligatory worship from voluntary worship. We give example for the first case. Ibadat from mu'amalat or from adat. Someone woke up and he washed. And someone woke up and did wudu. What's the difference? The one who did wudu, his intention is that he is worshipping Allah. And by this wudu, he will be able to pray and to touch the mushaf and so on and so forth. As for the other one, he just wanted to clean himself. We give another example. You are used to do wudu. You woke up, you went to the sink, you wanted to just wash your face. Like you didn't notice, you didn't realize, you found yourself you are doing wudu. Because you are usually you used to do it. For example, you arrive to your arm. Then you think, I already did my hands, my mouth, my face, and I'm in my arm. You cannot continue because the beginning you did it without intention, or you just were going to wash. You cannot just because you did the right limbs, you wash them, you continue. It has to be before. Before wudu, you are worshipping Allah. You are doing the religious purification. It's not just you want to remove, for example, your hand is dirty or your face, you want to wash it just like that. No. It has to be intentional. And we don't make it hard. It's not like when you stand, you stay 5 minutes, let's focus, I'm doing wudu, otherwise, no. It's easy. You are going to the masjid, you are thinking of a salah. You heard adhan, you want to perform wudu. When you are doing wudu, when you arrive, you are doing wudu to pray. It's as easy as that. Just it has to be before. You have to to do it. Usually, it's not that difficult, so we shouldn't make it difficult. He said, وَاسْتِصْحَابُ حُكْمِهَا. To have this intention till you finish wudu. You don't cut it. For example, in the middle of wudu, someone called you. Ibrahim, I need you. You thought, I will stop, go talk to him. When I come back, I resume. I repeat it. Because, as we will see later, you cannot, for example, go 5 minutes and come back and continue from there where you arrived. If it's very short time, you continue. If someone spoke to you, ask you a brief question, you answer and you continue. But if you intended, you thought he will talk to you a long time. You intended, I will cut it, talk to him. Then I will repeat it from the beginning. Then he told you, you are doing wudu. Khalas, we talk later. You said, okay. Here you cannot continue, even if it was very short time, because you intended to cut it. If you intended to cut your wudu, you have to repeat it from the beginning. If you didn't intend to cut it, you thought, I will see, I will continue, but if he talked too much, I will cut it. Here is another thing. Even if you don't intend to cut it in that way, if you spoke too much, it will be cut. So, intention, and you have to have the continuous intention till you finish. If you intend to cut it, it's gone. قال وانقطاع موجب. انقطاع موجب, the thing that made you need wudu, or the invalidators of wudu, they are finished. For example, one of the reasons of wudu is passing wind or urinating. You cannot, for example, you are doing wudu and at the same time passing wind. You have to finish this thing. When you finish it, you start doing wudu. If you do it in the middle of wudu, invalidates your wudu. Or you are still, for example, you are still urinating and in the half you start doing wudu. You cannot. Inqita'u mujib. The thing that made you need wudu, it has to finish. قال واستنجاء أو استجمار قبله. Istinja is washing private parts after answering the call of nature. You went to toilet, you pass something from front or rear exit, you have to either wash it, which is called with water, it's called istinja. If you use the stone, it's called istijmar. Is it permissible to use the stones? Yes. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they didn't have water everywhere. So if they don't have water, they use the stones. They take a rock, or, like stone, and they clean. And we need 3. You do 1 stone, 2nd stone, 3 stones. In the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ asked Sahabi to bring him. He brought him 2 stones and 1 bone. He said, meaning this is the food of your brothers from genes. Jinn, they eat bones. So bones you are not allowed to put harm, for example, urine or something in it. You cannot. It's the food of jinn. In some hadith, he said the bone, meaning the bone, they found it full of meat. It's bone. The jinn, when they ate it, they found it full of meat. Allahu A'lam. Ghayb. So, you use 3. Okay? So,
This can be only like rope, cannot be like a leaf of a tree or something.
yeah, it can. But then, something else, for example, leaves of the tree or paper. Some Muslims, if they go to toilet, public toilet, they find only paper, they think, I need to take a bottle. No, you don't have to. Water is the best purifier and cleaner, of course. But if you find the paper, it does the job. The paper, either you use 3, like the rock, you use 3 papers, or 1 paper, you use 3 different corners. But if you use just 1, it's not enough. If you can use water,
does that mean in the UK here,
yeah,
you never see a toilet that has
splash water.
splash water?
Use the paper, is enough.
So even if there is water in the washing hand area that you can go and use.
Yeah. We are talking, there is difference between best and minimum. When we spoke about wudu, ghusl last week, if you pour water over your body with intention, and water touches all your body, you did ghusl. If you do Bismillah, right to the left, wash private part, wudu, head 3 times, right then left, this is best. If you find water, you can use water, is best. If someone used the paper, you cannot tell him you are not clean, you are impure. لا. Usually the best, and they say أبلغ في التنظيف الماء. The water is best. It's not like tayammum. If we have water, we cannot. But it's best to use water because it purifies more. It's clear for istinja and istijmar. He mentioned it as a condition of wudu. Does it mean that every time I'm going to do wudu, I go to toilet and do istinja and istijmar? No. The author meant you do it after you answer the call of nature. You cannot, for example, you went to toilet, then without water, without rock, without paper, and you go straight to do wudu. You have to clean yourself. So let's not understand it as it is something we do before every single wudu. قال وطهورية ماء وإباحته. طهورية ماء, that the water is pure. It's a condition. If the water is impure, for example, you have water and a dog urinated in that water, it's impure. You cannot use that water. If you have water, like a bit of sugar fell in the water, it's pure. So this will lead to a whole chapter of fiqh, pure and impure water. It's a big chapter. So just as a conclusion, the water that you use for wudu has to be pure. In our case, usually in the tap is pure. He said, وَإِبَاحَتُهُ, that it is permissible water. This condition is topic of disagreement between the scholars. The water being pure, no disagreement, consensus. The water has to be pure to do wudu. Then what is pure, what is not pure, this is khilaf bin ulama. But to be permissible water is topic of disagreement. What does it mean? Someone stole a bottle of water, then he performed wudu with that water. Sheikh here and some other scholars, they say this wudu is invalid and the prayer is invalid because the water was haram. Or let's say 2 people, neighbors, they have lands. In the land of this one, there is a well. So his neighbor, he takes some water, and his neighbor is not happy that he takes water. They say he is stealing water. He cannot perform wudu with it. And so on, so forth. Stolen or mawsoob or something. And the right opinion, wallahu a'lam, that the wudu is valid, but he has a sin for stealing. still like taking water that is not permitted doesn't make it invalid wudu. Rather, take the sin for stealing, but the wudu is independent. والله أعلم. قال وإزالة ما يمنع وصوله إلى البشرة. To remove any obstacle stopping the water from reaching the skin. For example, the skin or any limb. For example, women put in nail varnish. If the woman put nail varnish, she cannot perform wudu. If she does wudu, her wudu is invalid, and the prayer invalid. So, what does she need to do? Remove it. First, is it permissible for the woman to wear nail varnish? No. If she is married and she wears it at home for her husband. يجوز. Yeah. She needs to remove it in every prayer. If she can remove it, like wear it 2 hours, then remove it. Or wear it after Isha, remove it before Fajr. Tell her, if you can handle it, do it. Or there is now what they call Islamic varnish. That is removable. She can wear it. She does just like that, she remove it. It's not as hard as the real varnish. But she is haram to wear it outside. In front of men. Except if she wears gloves. But to wear it and go in front of men, it's not permissible. So, we go back to our مسألة. مية البحر جائز مع انه مالي. The sea water is pure, whether for wudu or ghusl. In wudu, when you put it in your mouth, it's a bit salty, but it's permissible. مفهوم؟ It is جائز. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم سئل عن ماء البحر فقال هو الطهور ماؤه الحل ميتته. خلاص نص. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم was asked about the sea. He said, meaning it is the one, it means the sea, with the pure water. Its water is pure, and its dead animal is halal. If you have a camel and they die, or you have a lamb and die, it's haram to eat. حرمت عليكم الميتة is the proof that every meat is haram. Sunnah clarified this text, except if you find a fish dead in the sea, you eat it. Huh? Camel dead in the sea. If it's the camel of the sea, there is a حيوان جمل البحر, like حصان البحر. If it's a seahorse, but if it's like a real camel that doesn't, like, not a fish, it's haram. Yeah, if like his camel is dying, push him in the water. No, you cannot. If it is like animal of the sea and die, then it will be permissible. So we were talking about something stopping from the water reaching the lips. We said like nail varnish. It has to be removed. And it's not permissible to wear it outside. Henna. How about henna? How do they call it? Henna? Henna. You know that, like the woman. First, henna is haram for men. Because it's from the beauty of women. Some cultures, even men, do it. Here, there is contradiction between culture and religion, so we shouldn't do it. Henna for women, we say like nail varnish? No. Henna is absorbed by the skin. It doesn't stop water from touching the limbs. If someone is a painter and his hands were covered by paint, we have a lot of brothers that are painters. They remove as much as they can, because sometimes it's very hard to remove 100%. If we tell him if there is one drop, your wudu is invalid, it will be مشقة. والمشقة تجلب التيسير. So they remove as much as they can, and they perform wudu. Or they try, for example, wear gloves because they are Muslims. They need to pray. Or they do wudu before painting and try to keep it. they try their best. اتقوا الله ما استطعتم. So as a rule, we remove anything covering the limbs of wudu.
How about henna for hair? Like, I think men do it for hair.
Henna for hair is to remove the shape. To remove removing shape, removing the gray hair. If a Muslim have gray hair, it's best to remove it, to hide it. What to hide it? Al-katm. There is a katm is specific like mixture. If they remove it with henna, it's permissible. Henna in the beard or in the hair is permissible for men. But in the, like for example, in the hands or in the feet, except in sometimes some people use it as a remedy. For example, they have like cracks. They tell them henna will help your skin get cured. Or they have eczema. They tell them as a cure. Here it will be another thing. But to use it for beauty, for example, in Eid or marriage, the man is not allowed to wear henna. So we said, إزالة ما يمنع وصولها إلى البشرة. We remove obstacles from making the water reach the body or the limbs of wudu. قال ودخول وقت الصلاة في حق من حدثه دائم. There is a condition for specific category of people. There are people who have like very often like impurity. It means losing wudu. Let me see how they translated it here. It said the arrival of time of salah for those who continuously or continually lose their ablution. This is مسألة called مسألة سلس البول أو سلس الريح. And this is قياس upon الاستحاضة. We give 3 examples. The first one is المستحاضة. The women have the blood of menstruation, the mens. It's called حيض in Quran and in Sunnah. There are women who have blood but not in the time of period. And with some signs and some things, they know it's not blood of menstruation. It's rather blood coming from their front. So this blood is not called hayd. Rather, it's called istihada. It's completely different. Because hayd, the period, menstruation period, the woman is not allowed to pray, nor to fast. For the prayer, she doesn't make it up. For fasting, she has to make it up. The married couple, they cannot have intercourse in hayd. As istihada, different. She has to pray, she has to fast, and relation is allowed. So completely different. We need to learn the differences. For istihada, someone will say the woman is bleeding. How she prays? When it's the time of salah, for example, adhan of dhuhr, after adhan, she perform wudu and she pray. Then in Asr, she perform another wudu, she pray. Whether she bleed in the salah or she doesn't matter. She just put something to stop the blood from touching her clothes in salah. The best for her is to do shower for every salah. If she cannot do shower for every salah, she makes the salawat closer and she does one shower. For example, she does one shower, one ghusl between dhuhr before Asr. Then she prays dhuhr, then another wudu and she prays Asr, so on and so forth. Or she does wudu after the beginning of time. So for example, if dhuhr adhan beginning time is 12, she doesn't do wudu 5 to 12. Rather, after 12. When the time she performs wudu, then whether she bleed or not doesn't matter. Okay. Same ruling apply to people who are salis al-bawl, salis al-rih. Salis al-bawl, people who cannot hold urine. Salis al-rih, people who cannot hold the wind. It's illness. These are illnesses. Some people, they pass wind or they urinate like they cannot control it. Imagine these people, we tell them you have to be pure to pray. He does wudu, he's walking to pray, he pass wind or urinate. Maybe he start praying, then he feels drops or something. So Islam is the religion of ease. To make it easy for these people, they wait after adhan. He said, dukhulul waqt. When it's the time of adhan, they perform wudu, and they pray. Whether they passed wind for those who suffer from continuous wind, or they passed urine, it's okay. After adhan, they perform wudu and they pray. But they cannot make next prayer after adhan, they do it again, and so on and so forth. This is the last of the conditions of salah, of wudu, as the author mentioned.
Yeah, for men, like for normal men, like when he went to pray, in the prayer she like, so we like like something came like messy something. So
Yeah.
we have to stop.
The Prophet ﷺ was asked about someone who, like for example, think he passed wind. He ﷺ said, meaning, don't leave except if you hear a sound or you smell a smell. Or you are sure that you passed wind. Maybe you sure that you passed wind, but you didn't hear anything, you didn't smell anything. If you are sure, you leave the salah. If you are not someone who is ill with that illness, if you are like healthy, you passed wind in the middle of wudu, after wudu, or during the salah, you have to repeat wudu. If you feel that I think I passed wind, sometimes we do ruku', you feel sometimes your tummy make a noise or something. Here, you don't leave a salah except if you hear the sound or you smell a nose. Other than that, it's doubt. And doubt doesn't invalidate certainty. Yes? You don't leave it except if it's a doubt. If it is certainty, if you are sure you passed wind, you have to leave it. If you are not sure, you don't leave it except if you smell something or you hear something. Because we have a rule in Islam saying, al-yaqinu la yazulu bil-shak. Certainty is not to be invalidated by doubt. And one application of this rule, I did wudu for dhuhr. And I prayed in the masjid, for example, or I prayed at home. In Asr, I start thinking, did I lose wudu or I didn't? If you cannot remember, then don't repeat wudu. You are sure you did wudu, but you are not sure if you broke it. Here, you follow the original ruling, you are still upon wudu. Let's imagine the opposite. After praying dhuhr, I went to the toilet. But after that, I'm not sure if I did wudu or I didn't. Here you are sure that you went to the toilet, but you are not sure if you did wudu or not. Here you need to do wudu. So always you follow what you are sure. Certainty is not to be invalidated by doubts. Is that clear? No. No, these people have a specific case. If they can change or wash it is best. But if they cannot, because there is a rule, hardship bring ease in Islam. Because we will make their life, can you imagine someone, we tell him to change their clothes 5 times? Of course, we would recommend, for example, they wear nappy. There are adult nappies. Some people, they are adults, but they are ill. They wear nappy, no problem. But like to tell them to change their clothes every salah, most likely they will stop praying.
Maybe they have one or two.
Yeah. نسأل الله السلامة والعافية.
The same thing that applies to wudu, does it apply to like feel the sensation of madhi?
Yeah, madhi as well is invalidator of wudu, not ghusl.
So if you're praying, you feel like that sensation,
Yeah.
do you stop or you continue?
If you are sure that it invalidates, that it happens, and by the way, this specific example of madhi usually, as defined by the scholars, they say is a thick liquid, or thin liquid, that is like, it happens when someone think of intercourse. And this usually doesn't happen in the salah. But if for a reason it happens, either it's true or you are not sure. If you are sure, you exit your salah. If you are not sure, you don't exit. If you are not sure and you didn't exit your salah, after salam, you checked your clothes and you found that there is. You repeat because invalidator of wudu. Okay? But if it was earlier and you made wudu, but there is just najasa in your clothes and you didn't know, you don't repeat. It's a matter of najasa is something, matter of wudu is something. Wudu, if you discover in the time or later, you repeat wudu and salah.
If it was earlier, apart from cleaning your clothes, you also have to perform tahara.
Of course. We said if you did tahara, but you didn't change, for example, you didn't sprinkle your, because sunnah, how to purify clothes from wudu is to, from madhi, is to sprinkle water. You purified like your private part, because sunnah in that you wash all your private part, and you renew wudu. You did it, but you didn't sprinkle your like underwear, for example. After salah, you remember. You don't repeat salah because it's najasa. But if you forgot to purify yourself, you need to repeat salah.
But if you remember that you didn't sprinkle during salah, you stop.
Yes. If you remember during salah, you stop. Because you realize there is najasa in the middle. If you can't get rid of it without like getting out of salah, you remove it. For example, if it was like thawb and you are wearing trousers under, you remove your thawb and you pray with your clothes. For example, I'm wearing long shorts and I'm wearing a shirt under the qamis. And I remember that there is najasa on the qamis. I remove the qamis and finish my prayer. If, for example, it is something like I'm wearing just short and top and it's in the short. If you remove the short, you will be without, you will be uncovering awrah. So you have to leave a salah and okay. Then he said رحمه الله الدرس الثالث أو الثالثة عشر فروض الوضوء. فروض الوضوء are the obligations of wudu. There are reasons why in salah they called it pillars, here they called it furud. We just know that they are like the pillars of wudu. He said there are 6. غسل الوجه ومنه المضمضة والاستنشاق. Washing the face and from it rinsing the mouth and washing the nose. It's a revision of what we did last week. He said the istinshaq means to inhale the water by the nose. So when we say the face, the mouth and the nose are part of it. This is why Allah in the Quran, He said, إِذَا قُمْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ. He didn't mention the mouth and the nose because they are part of the face. He said the second, غسل اليدين مع المرفقين, washing the hands with the arms to the elbows, with the elbows, that it was included. He said, مسح جميع الرأس ومنه الأذنان, wiping the head, including the ears, because the ears are part of the head. The Prophet ﷺ said, الأذنان من الرأس, the ears are of the head. قال وغسل الرجلين مع الكعبين, washing the feet with the ankles. والترتيب, the order, by the way, order between the furud, not between the same fard. What does this mean? For example, face including mouth and nose is 1. The hands with the arms to the elbows is 1. Wiping the face, wiping the head including the ears is 1. The feet is 1. So in reality we had 4. Face, arms, head, feet. These 4 has to be in this order. But the order inside one limb is not obligatory. It's sunnah, it's best. For example, someone start by face, then mouth, then nose. Or nose, then mouth, then face. Doesn't matter because they are the same organ. Someone did ears, then head, or head, then ears. Start left, then right, or right, then left. Of course, there is preferably sunnah. We will talk about it in sunnah. But if someone, for example, did the arm before the face, wudu is invalid. Okay? So the furud, these are 4. The 5th is order between them. He said the 6th, muwalah. And muwalah means when you do one, you do the next. When you do one, you do the next. The delay between them, the scholars say, is a time enough to dry the previous limb in average weather. What does this mean? I washed my face and mouth and nose. I'm going to do my arm. Someone came to talk to me. He said, I have a question. If I spoke with him few seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, the time usually where the limb doesn't dry, is still, the face is still wet. Then I continue. Here my wudu is correct. If the time I speak to you, my face dry, I have to repeat from the beginning because I delayed it too long. But dry, not dry in average weather, because in some hot countries you wash your face once, it's dry. And in some cold countries, you may stay 5 minutes and your face will still be wet. So it's average. So it is a matter of estimation. So if we, I washed my first arm, then I went to the car, I did something 2-3 minutes. When I come back, I have to repeat from the beginning. If it was just like few seconds, short time, I continue. This is a pillar of al-wudu. If you notice, these are the 6 pillars of wudu. Some scholars say, and basmala before, if you remember it, is obligation. So if you remember to say Bismillah before wudu is obligatory. If you forgot, it's okay. Some they say it's mustahab, it's just sunnah. If you notice, the 6 that we mentioned, we didn't mention to do it twice or 3 times because this is not obligatory. So if someone didn't wash his hands at the beginning of wudu, straight, he went mouth, nose, face, and did it one. Right arm to the elbows included 1, second left 1, wide head and ears 1 right feet, 1 left foot. Following what you mentioned, is it valid or invalid? Valid, and it is valid.
If he's one is valid, but if he's covering all the face or all the hand, like
You have to do it properly. It's valid, but it's not really like what we do all the time. What we do, the sunnah, he said, وَيُسْتَحَبُّ تِكْرَارُ غَسْلِ الْوَجْهِ وَالْيَدَيْنِ وَالرِّجْلَيْنِ 3 مرات. He said, it is sunnah, mustahab, liked in Islam, and recommended, and best, to repeat washing the face, it means including mouth and nose. And the hands means to the elbows, what you mentioned, the arms. And the feet means to the ankles, right and left, 3 times. This is sunnah. Is it permissible to do it less? For example, 2? Yes. You can do 1 or 2 or 3. Sunnah is 3. Can you do 4? No. The Prophet ﷺ said, meaning, من زاد فقد تعدى وظلم. The one who he transgressed the limits and unjust. It means he exceeded the limits. So 1, 2 or 3. Sunnah is 3 except the head and ear. He said وهكذا المضمضة والاستنشاق. He said mouth and nose as well. It means 3 times. والفرض من ذلك مرة واحدة. He said what's obligatory is 1. But to repeat it 3 times is sunnah. أما مسح الرأس فلا يستحب تكراره كما دلت على ذلك الأحاديث. He said, as for wiping the head, means including the ears, the sunnah is not to repeat it more than one. So for example, if you are in the mosque, the imam is in the first rak'ah, you want to catch the first rak'ah. Do one, and come join. If you are relaxed in your home, you have time or you came early, do the sunnah, 3. And sometimes, even if you have time, sometimes do 1 or 2 just to alternate. Alternation if ibadah make you practice sunnah and help you focus in your ibadah, because your ibadah will be alive. Okay? So this is our
Somebody is hurrying to you can just start with mouth, nose.
yes. Yeah. Washing the hands at the beginning of wudu is sunnah. When we wash 3 times to the wrists, it's not obligatory, but it's best to do it. And usually, yeah, تخليل.
Doing this, is it obligatory?
تخليل أصابع is wajib.
It's not fun.
Yeah, a lot of scholars say it's obligatory. Because why did he mention it? Because it's part of washing. If you didn't, it means you didn't wash. The water has to cover and touch all the limbs. For example, some people, the elbow, they wash and they ply their arm. The water will not touch, will not reach the other side of the elbow, the inner side of like the joint, which is wrong. You have to wash it. Same in ghusl. In ghusl, the back of the knee. A lot of people, water never touch that point. And in wudu as well, the heels. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, وَيْلٌ لِلْأَعْقَابِ مِنَ النَّارِ. Woe to the heels from the fire. Those who wash for wudu and they don't cover all the limbs, their wudu is invalid. And the Prophet ﷺ saw a man praying, and in his feet, a small like part is as big as the coin was dry. He told him to repeat wudu and salah. Wudu is a must to learn. So we learn, as we learned last week, how to perform minimum salah if we are in a rush. If you are in a rush, you have just short time, you do the minimum wudu, the minimum salah. But we don't recommend someone learn the minimum. He said, mashallah, this course was very beneficial. I know how to do minimum salah, minimum wudu, minimum ghusl. Now on, when I need the shower, ghusl, I will throw water. When I need wudu, 1. As-salah, fatiha in 4 rak'ah. Very beneficial course. No. He said, the one who start reducing sunnah, with time what he will reduce? Fard. It works. It's either you go up or down. If you start practicing more sunnah, it means the obligations are something done. If you start reducing sunnah, with time you start reducing fard.
In terms of that you mentioned, that means those people that perform wudu, for instance, with their feet like this, and then you wash here, without raising here to wash wudu, that means it's wrong.
Of course it's wrong. And even between the toes. You have to make water go between the toes.
Sometimes you can see some people that pour water and they just.
Yeah, some people they pour water. Yeah.
Washing in between the toes, is it also fard?
The safe opinion that it is wajib. It's obligatory. تخليل واجب. Even تخليل اللحية, some scholars say it's wajib.
But there are other opinions that say for the toes, you don't have to do taqlid just like.
Yeah, but the safe is to wash between the fingers, between the toes, and even the water. You put the water in the beard if the beard is thick, to be sure in the safe side. For the feet, some they say if you wash outside, under, and in the back, in the heel, without the toes, but the safe is even between the toes.
Like يد مع المناخير قبل you start with the يد before the face.
لا. invalid.
Starting from
No, you have to repeat it.
When you come to do the Marathi, you don't have to repeat something if you did it at the beginning.
No. تخليل إن يدين at the beginning was all sunnah.
Sorry?
تخليل that we mentioned is in marafiq. Because washing at the beginning, if you do takhleel, washing the hands in the first place is sunnah. How can we say takhleel is wajib when washing is sunnah? So it was all sunnah. Takhleel, when you wash marafiq, you do takhleel.
So you have to repeat it.
Yeah.
The one you did at the beginning, if you did the tahmid is
One of the reasons of doing that one at the beginning, because it's sunnah, one of the wisdoms behind it, because usually we would use pot, especially in the out days. So you don't put your hand inside the pot, or your hand may be dirty. So first you pour water to your hands and wash it and do takhleel to make sure your hands are pure. Then you start putting it inside to mouth, nose, face, and the rest. This is the wisdom. And this is what was not obligatory. So if your hands are pure and you didn't do it, it's not a problem. But sunnah is to do it. In our days, we have from the top. Doesn't mean we get rid of this sunnah. We still do it so the hand that we use to wash other lips is pure itself.
because I observe many people during wudu, like after doing this,
Yeah.
mouth movies, when they come to the Ayla Marathi, they just do water like this without going.
If the water goes, in our days, usually the water would go because we are using the. If you use from your hand to your if you pour by your hand, the water will not flow. When you use the tap, usually even when you put, it will go between the hands. But always the safe. We are talking about wudu, that is a key for the salah. I don't think it's something we should take lightly or anything that is not true. Always safety.
Sometimes some people when they done this in the beginning, when they came to hand, they just wash it.
Yeah, it's very common mistake. Some people at the beginning of wudu, they washed hands to the wrist. When after face, they are needing to wash the arms to the elbows, they will wash from the wrist to the elbow. They think because I did this earlier. It's not enough. You have to repeat it.
That was what I was trying to.
Yeah. You have to wash your hand with it's not because you did it before. Then you don't need it. You have to wash your hand from the tips of the toes, the tips of the fingers to the elbow included.
The hand is not like feet. The feet, you just, if you have a shock, yeah, you have a wudu before you have shock, just you pass hand on the top, yeah?
If you have socks or shoes, yeah.
Yeah. And hands, if you have a longer cloth,
You have to,
you have to remove.
yeah, you have to remove it. For the feet, if we spoke last week about rulings of wiping the shoes and the socks and the khuf, leather shoes or leather socks. We said if you wore them when you had tahara, when you had wudu, then you are allowed to do it 1 day and 1 night for the resident and 3 days and 3 nights for the traveler. But for the arms, if you are wearing long sleeves, even if it's, for example, maybe it's a shirt and you have to remove it. Not like the feet.
Like, you know the building boots, big
Yeah.
ones, like building boots. Sometimes you wear the body like that. If you, morning you have a
Wudu and you wore it.
layer on, you want to do it. How to do it just to, and you top the boot. You need to, now everything is to have water or just pass hand.
You just pass hand.
Okay.
If you are wearing boots or shoes or socks or khuf, leather, you wipe your hand, you make your hand a bit wet and you do like that. Like that. like that. Whether you do it in the same time and on the top, not the bottom, not the heels. That's enough. This is how we are taught. Ali radiallahu anh said, meaning, if the religion was by logic and thinking, he said we should wipe the bottom. He said, but this is how we were taught. And Aisha radiallahu anha same. She said, woman told her, why the woman make up fasting and she doesn't make up prayer. She told her, أحرورية أنت? Are you from Khawarij? Khawarij of Harura, they used to use the intellect against the deen. She said, no, I'm just asking. She told her, meaning, we were commanded to make up the fast. We were not commanded to make up the prayer. This is how we have been taught. Wallahu a'lam. No.
Sister, they have nifaq.
Yeah.
They have to
Yeah, they have to. The face have to be. They have to be washed. For the khimar, they can wipe over the khimar, or the man wipe above the imama. But if
same as socks.
yes,
They can.
no. But the face, it has to be washed.
You mean that means you can wipe over their hijab if women?
Yeah, it's outside, and if she is home, she washes. She wipes like her head. Because it's easy for her to remove her khimar at home. But if she is outside, she wore upon tahara, she can wipe on the top.
So I think if it's at home, she has to wipe her head. She has to.
Yes, at home there is no hardship.
For men, can do as well.
Amama, but like taqiyya is easy to remove. Amama,
Example, that one can be like.
That's why.
no, this one is easy to remove.
This
I'm-
one, it can be wiped over.
No, this is easy to remove. This is what I'm saying. Imama, because you know it's like a turban, like sometimes if you remove it, it's
They
gone.
have so many clips and.
You need to like undo it and do it again. But okay.
في أماكن بعض الناس ما يطلعون عالم يصور معاه كيف.
كيف؟ نعم يجوز. It's permissible. بالعكس, this is one of the differences between Muslims and Christians and Jews. I know in the modern time they pray with their shoes in like the places of worship, but this should be one of the khasa'is of Islam. The Muslims are allowed to pray in the shoes and the khuf. No problem.
If I do
The
wudu
Prophet-
in home and I wear the socks after I wash my feet,
Yeah.
then I go outside with the shoes, then I can pray with the shoes, then I can.
Yeah, you wipe on the shoes and you pray in the shoes. You don't need to remove it. As long as you wore it when you had wudu and you wipe over it. Then if you remove it,
If I remove the shoe but not the socks, then still it's valid to wipe it.
لا. If you wiped on the shoe, you removing it, invalidate the
I
mess.
have to remove the
If you remove the shoe, you wiped on the socks,
Yeah.
you can continue wiping on the socks.
Oh.
If you removed what you are wearing on the top, you cannot like wipe on the bottom. Wallahu a'lam.
So for example, someone has a sock and he wipes on it. When we remove the sock, the water also gone.
Khilaf, Ibn Baz rahimahullah say, when you remove the sock, you lose wudu. But the right opinion, when you remove it, you don't lose wudu, but you lose the right to wipe again. For example, if you removed it, then wore it again, you cannot continue wiping. Just when you removed it, you continue praying as much as you have wudu. Next time you have to wash your feet. Okay.
After wudu, like now I have a wudu. Sorry.
The last question, because we have to finish the Nawaaqid al-Wudu. No.
I'm just worrying now, like now next walk maybe I'm on outside and I do masah on my shoes.
Shoes or socks?
Shoes.
Okay.
It's not valid to keep it socks next time. Like I can't wipe on neck after.
On socks?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. If I do on socks.
If
like,
you remove your shoe, you wipe on the sock and you wear the shoe. You can pray in the shoe. It's okay. Then
I
in
can-
Asr, you remove the shoe, wipe the sock, and wear it again. It's okay. But if you are wearing the sock, you did wudu, and you wiped on the sock, then you removed it, you cannot wipe anymore. You have to wash next time. We finish inshallah with the last. Then Nawaqid al-Wudu is the last bit we still have. then later inshallah, if you want more questions after Maghrib, no problem inshallah, because we still have just short time before Maghrib. قال الدرس الرابع عشر نواقض الوضوء. The 14th lesson, the invalidators of wudu. قال نواقض الوضوء وهي 6 invalidators of wudu. الخارج من السبيلين. الخارج من السبيلين, what goes from the 2 exits, front and rear. And when the rear exit includes the wind, not only the stool. It means if someone pass wind is one of the invalidators. So 1 point include البول الغائط والريح. 3 are included from. If something else, not urine, for example, madhi, wadi, it's from the exit. Okay, so anything that goes from the exits invalidate. There is just khilaf about women passing. Sometimes they have like air from the front. From the rear is wind, is invalidated. From the front is not. And sometimes they have like the discharge invalidate. The discharge invalidate. So anything from front or rear. So generally, because there are some masail, they need like a lot of details. So generally, what goes from the front and rear exit, whether urine or stool or wind or blood or discharge, invalidate. That is khilaf about few مسائل. said والخارج الفاحش النجس من الجسد. He said any impure substance that is excessively getting out of the body. So whether front or said discharge from the body, any excessive discharge from the body, and that is impure. So for some scholars, they said if first the blood is pure or impure, majority of the scholars say the blood is impure. They say if someone is bleeding like too much, it means they need to invalidate wudu. The right opinion, even if the four madhahib say it's impure, the right opinion, blood is pure. And we spoke about it last year in lessons of fiqh. So the blood is pure. Excessive, not excessive, no difference. So this point that the author mentioned is not a topic of ijma', khilaf between the scholars. Same for vomiting. Vomiting is excessive, impure, because the sick is impure. A lot of scholars say the person needs to repeat when it is heavy vomiting. The right opinion, it doesn't. But the safe opinion is to repeat. Because some say it invalidates, some it doesn't. Even if we believe it doesn't invalidate. But for them, they say it invalidates. Some they say any like heavy or purse, like as well. So the safe, when following what the author said here, he said it invalidates. قال وزوال العقل بنوم أو غيره. He said losing consciousness or intellect. Consciousness, yes, due to sleeping or something else. Losing consciousness, for example, sleeping, or something else, for example, fainting, or something else. Sleepiness, what's the minimum? 1 hour sleep, 10 hours, 5 minutes? It's not a matter of time. It's a matter of how deep. Because the fuqaha, they disagree. Some they talk about the time. The right opinion and the best opinion, wal-ilmu inda Allah, it's how deep. You can sleep 5 seconds while you lose consciousness. Here you have to do wudu. You may sleep 2 hours, 5 hours, but you are conscious, half sleep. And this is Sahabas, they said we used to sleep and pray without doing wudu again. Doesn't mean they used to sleep like deep sleep. There is someone who is aware of what's happening. In the hadith, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال العين وكاء السهم, like meaning the eye is like the cover for the rear exit. It means if your eye is gone, you don't know what happened. Maybe you passed with that 5 seconds, so you have to do wudu. So conclusion, if you slept deep sleep, even few seconds, invalidate wudu. If you slept or you are just laying down and you are conscious, doesn't matter how long, it doesn't. Fainting, if someone pass out and unconscious, they need to repeat al-wudu. If someone had, for example, anesthetic, it was general anesthetic, they have to repeat wudu. So any form of losing consciousness. ولا علم عند الله. قال ومس الفرج باليد قبلا كان أو دبرا من غير حائل. مس الفرج, touching private part with the hand. He said whether it's front or back without obstacle. مسألة فيها خلاف, disagreement between the scholars. And the safe is the opinion of Shaykh. Touch it, private part, the person wudu. Even if other scholars they say it has to be with desire. If it's with sexual desire, it invalidates. Otherwise, it doesn't, because hadith وَبِضْعَةٌ مِنْكَ أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, it's part of your body. So, but if following the safe opinion, when you touch your front private part or back, you need to repeat al-wudu. This invalidates al-wudu, even if we said this opinion is to be discussed. Some they say without obstacle, it means without clothes. So if you touch from, for example, scratch or something from above the clothes, it doesn't invalidate. But without straight skin to skin, it does invalidate. And some, like scholars would add his or someone else's. So whether the person touches his own private part or someone else's private part, it invalidates. قال وأكل لحم الإبل أو عادة يقول وأكل لحم الجزور, consuming camel meat. Consuming camel meat invalidates al-wudu as well. والردة عن الإسلام أعاذنا الله والمسلمين من ذلك. Apostation, the one who apostate, he needs to repeat shahada and ghusl and wudu. So if he had wudu, he cannot, for example, say shahada again and pray. He say, I had wudu earlier. For example, someone said a big word, for example, cursing Allah, astaghfirullah, or saying something that invalidates Islam, and he says astaghfirullah, and he just like pray. He said, I had wudu earlier. Rather, it invalidates Islam, ghusl and wudu. He needs to repeat shahada, shower, and wudu. إنسان كفر مثلا سب الله, كان عنده وضوء سب الله, بعدين قالوا له هذا كفر وكذا, قال استغفر الله, قال أنا مقبل كنت متوضي ونصلي. قال العلماء لما كفر نقض إسلامه وغسله ووضوءه, لازم يعاود يشهد ويغتسل ويتوضا. نعوذ بالله من ذلك. Shirk is major and minor. Major, no, major only. Because minor shirk doesn't put the person out of the circle of Islam. Major shirk make a person kafir, not Muslim. Minor shirk, the person is still Muslim, but he commits shirk. For example, showing off. Someone Muslim, he show off. We don't say he's kafir, but he is committing minor shirk. Someone who, for example,
Somewhat we say like unintentional. It's like accident.
like depends, we need to like train ourselves some words of kufr to avoid it. There are words that people usually don't mean. But some words people take it lightly, like cursing Allah. In some countries, if someone annoy him, instead of swearing at the person, he will swear at Allah. This is kufr, whether he doesn't matter. This is kufr. Simpullahi kufr. But some other words, like a lot of words we had in Kitab Tawheed, Ma sha Allah wa shi'it. If the person mean as Allah wants and as you want and think that you are on the same level with Allah, this is kufr. But usually Muslims say it not in this intention. They think Allah is above and you are just creation, but the wording is wrong. This is not kufr.
Someone say, like, someone help and say, oh, you saved my life or something.
Yeah, we said this, if the person means that you are the one who saved lives and everything, and Allah is not the one who helped and create and save and control the affairs, this is kufr. But usually people say it, just they don't mean it. They know that Allah is the God and you are just a human.
Yeah.
So it's not a kufr. This is not kufr. This is
by your hand, something like
yes. But even if they say the wrong word, it's minor shirk. Minor shirk doesn't make a person kafir, while major shirk make a person kafir. قال رحمه الله في الختام تنبيه هام أما غسل الميت فالصحيح أنه لا ينقض الوضوء وهو قول أكثر أهل العلم لعدم الدليل على ذلك لكن لو أصابت يد الغاسل فرج الميت من غير حائل وجب عليه الوضوء والواجب عليه أن لا يمس فرج الميت إلا من وراء حائل. He said, note something. He said, washing deceased person. For example, you want for تغسيل ميت. Someone passed away, you were one with them to wash. He said the right opinion that it doesn't invalidate wudu. And this is the opinion of majority of the scholars because there is no proof for it. Some people think when you did wudu, when you wash deceased person, you have to do wudu because your wudu is gone. Some even say you have to do shower, you have to do ghusl. None of them is obligatory. It's sunnah to perform ghusl if you want. If you don't, it's okay. He said, because there is no proof. He said, but if your hand touched the private part of the deceased person, you lost your wudu and you need to repeat wudu because of touching the private part without cloth or something. He said, and it's haram. You shouldn't touch the private part of deceased person. So if you go to ghusl to wash the deceased person, at the beginning we clean the private part. We pour water and you need to put a cloth or wear gloves. And even with the gloves, you need to wrap your hand. You cannot, for example, just touch like that. You do like, yes, you can't feel it. You need to wrap your hand. If by mistake, for example, you were like, you wanted to just clean and you by mistake it touched, you need to do wudu. He said because of touching the private part of the deceased person. And just one mas'ala, we finish with it. Touching a woman. Some fuqaha, they said touching a woman invalidate wudu. Any woman. They said, the proof Allah said, أَوْ لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاء. In the verse Allah mentioned, He said, أَوْ جَاءَ أَحَدٌ مِّنكُم مِّنَ الْغَائِطِ أَوْ لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاء. لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاء, or you touched woman. They said it's clear. But the right opinion, Allah in this verse, He means intercourse. But Allah, this word, to avoid using the word intercourse, Allah give it in a soft way. Say, or you touched woman, you understand what Allah means. So if you touch the woman with desire, you or if the one has intercourse, they need to repeat al-wudu. But touching like the skin of a woman without desire doesn't invalidate wudu, but it's not permissible when it's not mahram. It's haram to touch any woman that is not mahram. This is the end, inshallah, of this series, this course. We had 2 days. Yeah, if it's with desire, a lot of scholars say it invalidates. If it's without, it doesn't. inshallah, to be honest, the lesson, these are topics of fiqh, and fiqh need more time and more explanations and more details. But in these 2 days course, last Sunday and this Sunday, alhamdulillah, we try to cover majority of the most important issues. All what we mentioned need proofs and support, and Masail have disagreement. Some things that he mentioned, we said there is khilaf, there is this. We went through them previously in previous series about Salah, but it's always good to study this again and again and again. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from all of us, to make us benefit from this series. ربنا زدنا علما وانفعنا بما تعلمنا اللهم انفعنا وارفعنا بما تعلمنا اللهم يسر أمورنا اللهم اختم بالصالحات أعمالنا اللهم كن لإخواننا في فلسطين اللهم انصر عبادك المظلومين والمستضعفين اللهم عليك بالصهاينة المعتدين وأعوانهم أجمعين اللهم اشدد وطأتك عليهم اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين بارك الله فيكم جزاكم الله خيرا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك